My name is Robert. I'm 84 years old. And there's something I saw 47 years ago that I've never told anyone about.
Not my wife, not my children, not the police, though maybe I should have. I think about it most mornings now, when the house is quiet and I'm the only one awake, when there's nothing between me and the memory except all these years I've spent carrying it alone. I don't know why I'm saying it now. Maybe because I'm running out of time to keep it to myself. Maybe because silence gets heavier the longer you hold it. Or maybe I just need to hear myself say it out loud, just once, before I'm gone. It happened in the summer of 1977. I was 37, married, 2 kids, working as a foreman at a construction site just outside of town. We were building a shopping center, nothing fancy, just concrete and rebar and long days in the heat. I had a crew of about 15 men, most of them I'd worked with for years. Good guys, showed up on time, did their jobs, went home. One of them was a man named Dennis. Dennis was quiet, kept to himself mostly. He was older than the rest of us, maybe in his early 50s, thin, wiry, the kind of guy who didn't say much but worked twice as hard as anyone else. He'd been on the crew for about 8 months. I didn't know much about him. He didn't talk about his family, didn't go out for drinks after work, just clocked in, did the job, clocked out. I liked him well enough. He was reliable, and in that line of work, reliable was all you needed. It was a Friday, late afternoon. We were wrapping up for the week. Most of the crew had already left. I was doing a final walkthrough of the site, making sure everything was locked down before the weekend. That's when I saw Dennis. He was standing near the back of the lot, by the storage trailers, talking to someone. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I figured it was one of the other guys. Maybe he was catching a ride home. But then I got closer, and I saw who he was talking to. It was a boy, maybe 12 or 13 years old, thin, dark hair, wearing a t-shirt and jeans that looked too big for him. Dennis had his hand on the kid's shoulder, and the kid looked uncomfortable. Not scared exactly, but like he didn't want to be there. I stopped. I didn't know what I was seeing, but something about it felt wrong. Dennis saw me. He dropped his hand, stepped back. The kid turned and walked away quickly, disappearing around the side of one of the trailers. Dennis looked at me for a long moment. Then he said, "That's my nephew, just dropping something off." I nodded, said something like, "Okay, have a good weekend," and I walked away. I didn't think about it much that night or the next day, but by Sunday it was bothering me. Something about the way the kid had looked, the way Dennis had dropped his hand so fast when he saw me, the way his voice had sounded when he said nephew. It didn't sit right. On Monday, I asked around, casual, just mentioned that I'd seen Dennis with a kid on Friday, asked if anyone knew he had a nephew in town. No one knew what I was talking about. One guy said Dennis didn't have any family around here, said he'd moved from out of state a year ago, lived alone in a rental on the edge of town. That's when I started to feel it, that sinking feeling, like something was very wrong and I was the only one who'd seen it. I thought about going to the police. I played it out in my head a dozen times, walking into the station, telling them what I'd seen, describing the kid, letting them handle it. But then I'd talk myself out of it, because what had I actually seen? A man talking to a kid. That was it. I didn't see anything happen. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even know for sure that the kid wasn't his nephew. What was I supposed to say? I saw something that felt wrong? They'd asked me questions I couldn't answer. And if I was wrong, if it really was just his nephew or a neighbor's kid or nothing at all, I'd ruin Dennis's life over a feeling. So I didn't say anything. I told myself I was being smart, reasonable, that I needed more information before I made that decision. But really, I was just afraid. Afraid of being wrong, afraid of looking stupid, afraid of what it would mean if I was right. 2 weeks later, Dennis didn't show up for work. He didn't call, didn't give notice, just stopped coming. I called his rental, no answer. One of the guys drove by his place the next day, said the landlord was there, clearing it out. Said Dennis had left in the middle of the night, took his stuff, and disappeared. Nobody knew where he went. I told myself it didn't mean anything. People leave jobs all the time. Maybe he got a better offer somewhere else. Maybe he had family trouble. Maybe he just didn't like the work. But I knew. Deep down, I knew. About a month later, I saw something in the newspaper. It was a small article, maybe 4 or 5 paragraphs, buried in the back section. A boy had been reported missing 2 towns over, 13 years old, last seen near a construction site. They were looking for information, asking anyone who might have seen anything to come forward. There was a photo. It was him, the same kid I'd seen with Dennis. I sat there staring at that article for a long time. My hands were shaking. I knew I should call. I knew I should tell them what I'd seen, give them Dennis's name, describe what happened that day. But I didn't, because if I called, I'd have to admit that I'd seen it, that I'd known something was wrong, that I'd had the chance to say something, and I didn't. And I couldn't live with that. So I told myself it was too late, that it wouldn't help now anyway.
That Dennis was long gone, and there was nothing I could do. I folded up the newspaper, threw it away, and I never said a word. They never found the boy. I checked the papers for months, waited for updates, hoped they'd find him safe, hoped I'd been wrong about everything. But there was nothing, just a missing person case that eventually went cold. I think about him all the time now. I don't even know his name. I never learned it. But I can still see his face, the way he looked that day, the way he stood there with Dennis's hand on his shoulder. I wonder what happened to him. I wonder if I could have stopped it.
My wife used to ask me why I was so quiet sometimes, why I'd just sit there staring out the window, not saying anything. I'd tell her I was tired, or thinking about work, or nothing at all. But I was thinking about him. About the boy I saw and didn't save. I've carried this for 47 years, and it's gotten heavier every single day. Not because I don't know what I should have done. I've always known. I should have called the police the moment I saw them. I should have trusted my gut. I should have been willing to be wrong if it meant that boy might be safe. But I didn't. I chose my own comfort over his safety. I chose not knowing for sure over doing something that might have mattered, and I've spent the rest of my life knowing that.
I told myself for years that it wouldn't have made a difference, that Dennis was already gone by the time I could have said anything, that the boy was probably that it was already too late. But I don't know that. I'll never know, and that's what I can't forgive myself for. Not that I didn't save him, but that I didn't even try. I have grandchildren now, 4 of them, 2 boys, 2 girls, and every time I look at them, I think about that kid, about how someone should have protected him, about how I had the chance and I didn't take it. I wonder if someone saw something, if someone else had a moment like I did where they knew something was wrong but didn't say anything. I wonder how many of us there were, how many people saw something, felt something, and stayed silent. My youngest grandson is 13 now, same age as that boy was, and sometimes when I look at him, I can't breathe.
I don't know why I'm telling this now. It won't bring him back. It won't undo what I didn't do. But I need someone to know. I need to say it out loud, that I saw something, that I knew, and that I did nothing, and that I've lived with that every single day since. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But if there's anything I could say, anything that might matter, it's this. If you see something that doesn't feel right, if your gut tells you something's wrong, if there's a moment where you could say something, even if you're not sure, say it. Don't be like me. Don't spend the rest of your life wondering if you could have made a difference. His name was Michael. I found that out years later, saw it in an old article online.
Michael Patterson, 13 years old, missing since August 1977. I don't know if he's still out there somewhere. I don't know if he ever made it home. But I know I saw him, and I know I stayed silent. And I'll carry that until the day I die. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you never have to carry something like this.